Today is Wednesday, April 26, 2023. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 44, Week 9.
This episode's titled Under the Wing of a Dragon. That was spoken by Danny, although I was just convinced it was Kane.
Yes, you were.
Till I heard Danny say it.
Oh, no, that has to be Kane
yes,
with the references.
It's a D&D reference, I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
Back at Camp Vava, night 15, Danny tells us that went exactly to plan.
Yep, and Frannie's giving him hugs.
A bucket list item, he says. We are at 3, 3, and 3. And we hear Jaime say that was one for the books.
Well, I thought she said that was a boss move.
Well, she said multiple things, but
yes,
one of the things
did.
that she said was that was one for the books.
Well, that's the one that stood out for me because she was saying it to Frannie, wasn't she?
I don't know.
Anyway, it was a beautiful move, even if you hated how it went.
Lauren acknowledged the blind side and noted that their numbers were dwindling, but they still had the majority.
I told you.
Still had the majority with Ratu and Tika from Lauren's perspective.
She got that I told you in there. I told you it should have been a split vote.
Yeah, which was a little bit revisionist.
Since Brandon said he told them it should be a split vote.
Not only that, but so you said it. Why didn't you do it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure you got a point. That ain't I told you so. That's I goofed. We see Yam Yam and Kane talking, and Yam Yam tells him that can't happen again. And Kane agrees. He said, now we got to go to mafia boss mode. Yam Yam tells us he's like 000, you know, that James Bond spy.
Yeah.
And you see what happens if you write Yam Yam's name down. Josh did, Matt did, Brandon did, and then you go. Okay, Yam Yam, sure.
Well, that was one reason I chose who I chose this week, so. Okay, day 16. Kane and Jaime are discussing what happened, and Kane tells us he's woken up.
He is not mad.
No.
But he does want to find an idol,
Yep.
and we find out day 16's a rest day. So lots of time to search for idols.
Yeah. Danny wants one. Everybody wants one.
Yeah, we see Danny searching along with Jaime and Kane, and Danny's telling us that he is outside his comfort zone now. He doesn't have the protection, so he's going to check 5 trees, gather some firewood, and then go check 5 more trees and gather some more firewood. He's got a system.
He's trying to hide that he's looking, but everybody knows everybody's looking.
No, I think he specifically said he wasn't going to be shy about it anymore.
Well, he
So
did
he
say that,
went full
but
on.
to me, if you come back with an armload of woods, that's you pretending that, oh, well, I wasn't out searching hard. Yeah, so no, I think he was still doing that for a while.
We hear Jaime talking to Lauren and saying he's always searching, referring to Danny.
Yep.
And then we get a very manic moment from Jaime in her confessional.
I know. That's
still
what
have
I
my
went
idol,
to.
didn't
Manic
she?
moment.
She hit us with a really weird laugh, didn't she? Multiple times. That was what felt manic about it. It just felt over the top.
She's like,
she was looping it.
how do I still have an idol? It's like,
Fake idol. Yes.
Well, bless her heart.
So all that searching, and lo and behold,
Heidi finds the
Heidi.
idol.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. I was thinking it was Kane.
Well, I was glad it wasn't Kane. I forgot about that when I wrote his name down as the vote off, but I thought, oh, I totally forgot that you had said you thought Kane would find it. But I thought Danny had a really good chance. And now that he knows he's a target after making that play, I mean, he was a target before, let's be real, but he's even more of one now.
Yeah, he definitely raised his threat level, didn't he?
Well, the other thing is that's a little bit surprising is that whole bromance thing where they were going to have meat shields and all that went absolutely nowhere.
Yep.
When they got back into their own tribes and the merge happened, and it just went nowhere.
Someone remembers, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Yes, someone always will.
Jam Jam is happy for the rest day, and he wants to play a game of I Spy. He spies something that starts with F, and Lauren guessed firewood. Bingo. Got it. And then they turn to Carolyn's. Now Carolyn's going to call something else. She spies something that begins with ass, she says.
Was she trying to say ass?
Yes. She cracked everyone up. Even Lauren jumped in and suggested possible speech therapy as a remedy here.
Well, I tell you what, Carolyn can laugh at herself, which is good
And
because
she did.
There's nothing better than that just huge, can't stop laughing belly laugh to really just make people feel better.
And it was a spark, a
respects.
catalyst, and we got to see that Carolyn was starting to manage the social side of things a little better.
I think Carolyn might have been doing a little bit of that along, and they just hadn't been showing it.
Well, according to her, she hadn't.
Well,
She said that she was really happy she was getting to share her story, talked about 13 years sober, celebrated that just before coming out.
and she's very proud of herself and not embarrassed by that any longer. And she was even a bit emotional because she never thought she'd have a family. And her husband had been in recovery as well. So and just how proud and how aware of being proud she is that when she wakes up, that her son doesn't have to have parents that are using.
Yes.
And how awesome that is.
Yeah.
So.
You got a sense that she understood and was living with a sense of gratitude.
Yes.
That put
I
her
enjoyed that very much. That's a great
her in a good
life
place.
story.
And who else enjoyed it? Frannie. She tells us she's
yeah.
loving Carolyn now. And Carolyn's teaching her how to be okay with herself.
Well, Carolyn was bringing them in. I think there was probably a lot more to that because, she's like, who here felt weird as a kid?
Weird kid story.
So that opened it up for anyone to jump in and tell how they felt as a kid.
Well, and who hasn't had some kind of weird kid moment?
Well,
Kids
of
are weird.
So, or they think they are, whether they are
clever.
or not.
Yeah.
So,
well, they're just finding their way. Everybody's got moments of weird.
You're searching. But it was good that Frannie talked about how much she likes her.
And Carolyn is okay with them thinking that she isn't game savvy.
Yep.
She knows she's game savvy, but if they keep thinking she's not, that works to her advantage too.
She's just out there having fun. She's not bothering to strategize or
not
none of
holding
that kind
anything
of stuff.
back.
And that's why out of the Tika 3, she's probably the last one that's going to be targeted unless Tika targets her.
Yeah.
For not going along with them.
Maybe. Things changed on day 17, though.
Yep.
Carson tells us he woke up tired, and he was thankful that he wasn't nauseous, but he was also very, very
weak.
Hungry.
Yeah.
Very hungry was the more important part.
Well, at least they said they didn't have much coconut left, but they let him have the coconut juice and let him drink it because he needed it.
Frannie was right. Get some electrolytes out of that, and then they were cooking up and charring some unripe papaya. That could be hard on your tummy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fiber going through there.
Well, that's probably why they cooked it to death. And even though it tastes gross, it was better than nothing in their stomach.
Time for tree mail, and they learned that in addition to the challenge today, in this 2-day cycle of the game, that they're going to get to negotiate for rice. Classic. So production has basically forced that. in previous seasons, we've seen people come in and request it. Here, they're just putting it out there. Day 17, I bet you want some rice. You're going to have to negotiate for it and figure out how many people are going to sit out so you can have rice.
Well, Carson didn't hesitate. I will, because he's not up to doing the challenge anyway, he said. And certainly he would sit out for rice.
Danny had a different frame of mind. He said, that's embarrassing to think about sitting out. We're here to play Survivor.
Let's be the only ones, the only season that doesn't do that. We can go this
We're
long
here to play.
without food.
He gives them a pep talk.
Yep.
Now people who are just dying to sit out are reluctant to join Carson.
To say anything, so nobody's agreeing. So they move on, apparently, and Frannie starts going, you know what? Tika's in the middle.
Tika's definitely on Frannie's radar.
Yep, and she's not quite sure who they are with, so she's wanting to target them.
But Danny tells us, hey, let's put all the cards on the table. We're at 3, 3, and 3. Let's not have any sit-outs, he says. Yeah. But Carson is indeed hungry.
Okay, so day 17. This is the first time that we've had a more than a single day's
The previous ones were single days. We've had
the last 2 weeks.
Okay, yep, that's another way to say what I just said. Yes, correct. Yep, our first 2 day. I'm number 1. Is that what that means?
Yep.
So it is pouring rain at the immunity challenge. Cracked you up, didn't it? You didn't think you were going to get called out.
I know. I don't care.
It is just pouring buckets at the immunity challenge. Probst tells us now this is Survivor. This is what he enjoys when it's miserable. He tells us the challenge for today is you're going to have to stand on a small block. You can only have 1 foot on the block.
Okay, now that's just wrong. I thought that's insult to injury.
Cruel and unusual.
At least let them, touch the block. That got me. I didn't like that.
One foot on the block, your other foot can be on that foot, but it cannot touch the block. And then they've got a handle with a ball. It looks like part of a bowling pin, like the bottom part of a bowling pin.
Yeah, they got to wedge the ball against.
And then there's a ball that they've got to wedge against a piece of wood. So they're using a round thing to hold a round thing against a flat thing and fighting gravity. This is a nice variation.
How are you going to know once your foot goes numb what you're touching?
Yeah.
You could be touching it and not know it.
Probst asks him if they discussed how to handle the rice situation, and Heidi jumps in, and she's curious if anything's changed now that they got their challenge.
And the weather.
Yes.
Is anyone willing to sit out now with this weather?
Yep. Carson and Lauren jump right in there.
Yep, they will. We're hungry, don't care. I was really surprised that Lauren.
Yeah, we both thought that she would probably try the challenge.
And then when nobody else would, Kane jumped in. That shocked me. Really shocked me.
Well, he said it was an easy decision for him. He looked at the challenge and went, "Yeah,
I can't do that. I
my
can't
big
win
foot.
that.
No,
yeah, no,
that's not going to happen." So
let
me just go ahead and help.
The pain either.
Let me just go ahead and help with the rice.
And Danny then piped up and said, "I won't vote for you if you sit out, Kane." I thought, liar.
Scout's honor.
Oh.
No, he said Scout's honor.
Yeah, but I didn't blame him for even 1 second.
I don't think Kane did.
And neither
either.
did Kane.
Yeah.
But Kane wasn't doing it for that reason. So, and then.
Did you see Frannie? She was trying to coax Jaime into it. That's why Jaime was having such a dilemma. She leaned over to Jaime and said, I haven't heard your name come up at all. And that gave Jaime a little food for thought.
Yep.
But then she decided, no, there's too much risk. I need to try the challenge. And then Heidi piped up and said, "Okay, I'll sit out." You think that was just because she had found a hidden immunity idol?
Yeah, she knew she wasn't going to go, I guess. Well, I guess she thought she wasn't going to go. I guess she could have.
Or much like Kane, she looked at the challenge and thought, in this rain.
I can't do
that.
And don't even want to try.
I guess that's a part of it I can completely understand.
Well, yeah, if you really do need food, and you know that you might need food for future challenges where you felt like you were more on the chopping block, in Heidi's case, then, you might want to save your energy for then and get some rice.
Yeah, there's an element of strategy to that, too.
I'm willing to take that risk for food.
So we end up with Frannie, Jaime, Yam Yam, Danny, and Carolyn being the 5 that are going to do the challenge.
And why Carolyn bothered, I don't know.
1, 2,
She
3,
tried.
Carolyn's out.
Yes, about.
Yeah.
She didn't last very long.
And you expected that too with the handle, with you having to, the only way that, you hold the handles, but you're pressing a round thing against the ball that you're holding against that piece of wood and fighting gravity. And you could see when Jamie's went, it just squirted out. It was just like bloop out the top, and then she was out of the challenge.
Well, and there's nothing stable anywhere. You're balancing on one foot on a block that cannot be comfortable
I don't
in
know.
any way, shape, or form. And not knowing how to, what to do with your other foot. And then it was just that looked so hard.
Yam Yam was struggling, and then he too was soon out, and it was showdown time between Frannie and Danny. They had gotten to 5 minutes in, and the wobbles hit, and we saw some great wobble recoveries on both parts. And then, just like that, it was over. Danny's popped loose, and the ball dropped, and he was out.
Yeah, let's see, did I have Danny safe? Yes, I did. Well, actually, I had Frannie safe too, so I guess it didn't matter at that point.
Danny safe's pretty bold. And Frannie gets her second immunity idol.
I put
individual
all
immunity.
of Soka safe.
Wow.
And Jaime.
And a lot of people are listening to you, and they're thinking, Joanne, that's so bold.
Bold.
But why did you
like
really
I
do
say
it?
For you, stupid.
Why did you really do it?
Why did I really do it?
Yeah. Why'd you make those choices? Because you were trying to
Because I
manage your
chose
safe
Kane.
points.
Well, yeah, I told you last week I was going to have to do that.
Yeah, you were.
Because I've used them way too much already. So I thought, no, even if I lose and have a 3-point week, okay, fine. I'm going to lose some anyway. So it didn't matter at that point. So
Okay, back to
I
Frannie.
went bold.
Back to Frannie. You were going to have to do that no matter
Stupid
what,
is my
given
other word for that.
where you
No,
got yourself.
okay.
Back to Frannie. She's got her second individual immunity win, and she tells us that
Good
she
on her.
never thought she'd do that well. When she looked at everyone when they first landed on the beach, she did not think her chances were good, but she is really enjoying crushing guys at these challenges.
Well,
Good job, Frannie. That's awesome.
she thought she was the weakest woman. I never thought that about her. Even just from looking at her day one, we picked her and Sarah to be probably the strongest two women.
Yeah.
So I thought, wow, that's a very different image that she has of herself
Maybe.
from
It could
what
have
I
been
have of her.
a little bit of a humble brag, but yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think she really felt that way.
Back at Camp Vava, everyone is giving Frannie the good job, the pats on the back, the hugs, way to go. Lauren tells us that it was risky to sit out, but she didn't care. She's going to eat some
wanted
rice.
The food, yeah, give us
Yeah.
the rice. And Kane says, man, he doesn't believe Danny scouts on her for a second.
Nope.
So, and tells us how Danny ruined his plan last week. Well, that's what he's there to do, okay? Okay, Carson tells them that they need to flush Jamie's idol. Yes, we might vote somebody else out, but we need to get Jaime to flush that idol out.
Yeah, everybody just sort of powers back up after getting that rice. Yam
Oh,
Yam
yeah.
tells us that he has woken up and he's ready to go, and we got this
But then
Ratu
so is everyone else.
versus Soka thing, yeah, that they got to figure out.
Gives them a burst of energy where they can think with more clarity.
We see Heidi kicking some of it off too. She's telling them that we got to vote out Kane. It's the first time we hear about Kane being an option in the episode. And then, like you said, Carson's talking about Tika in the middle and flushing that idol as part of it.
Okay, and they're planning to. Ratu wants to split the votes on Heidi and Danny.
Yep.
So they decide Kane, Carolyn, Yam Yam, and Carson would vote for Danny.
Right.
I thought, really, Kane, you trust Tika that much? But I guess he did. And then they decided that Jaime and Lauren would vote for Heidi with,
even
using the extra vote. So
Lauren
3.
playing the extra vote, yeah.
So it would be 4-3. They had it locked up just like last week.
Yep.
And that way they could flush out Jamie's
What'd you think
idol.
about the defense against knowledge is power segment that we got right after that?
Well, that's not even a part of the game, and yet it's
By that you mean it's not
playing on them. It's
not
not active in the game.
We know that. They don't know that. Kane
No,
tells us.
they don't.
So he
They're-
acknowledges, that's a
they're-
good idea.
Let's do it.
Let's defend against that. So Lauren gives her extra vote to Jaime, and then Jaime gives her fake idol to Kane. Yeah. And Kane's thrilled.
Because if Jaime does go home, then boy, he's going to have an idol.
He'll have an idol, and he'll have a vote out under his belt, which he was desperate for, so he can show how well he's playing. It's all coming together for Kane, he tells us.
All right.
Frannie's still concerned about Tika. They're just floating around. So she pitches an idea to Danny and Heidi and says, we need to split a vote on Yam Yam, and who else did she say? We need to team up with Ratu and go after the Tika
Yeah,
floaters.
I think they were like one on Carolyn and
Yam Yam, yeah.
I didn't pay much attention to that because I didn't think Danny and Heidi was having any of it.
Well, Danny right away doesn't give it any credence. He said the Ratu have power, the Tika don't. Ratu's, this is where we got the title. Ratu's sitting under the wing of a dragon with an advantage and
2 advantages, yeah.
No, with an advantage and an immunity idol, he says.
Yeah, but well, he said 2 advantages, but that's what he meant. Okay. And Carson is trying really hard to keep Tika together because Yam Yam wants to vote Kane out.
Yep, because he wrote his name down.
That's right. He wrote my name down. I'm picking off all the people that wrote my name down. So
we see Yam Yam telling Carolyn that Kane's a big threat, and she jumps in and says, I disagree. We need to be going after Danny.
Danny, I want Danny out. I'm sick of him.
So she didn't forget about Sanctuary and the Brofest. She's looking for some revenge from that Brofest moment still.
I guess. They're both holding on to their anger, Yam Yam and Carolyn. Carson's trying to make logical decisions and plan it out and he's having to manage both of them.
Yes. Kane wrote my name down for Yam Yam, and Danny ignored me and devalued me and didn't include me in the conversation for Carolyn. Therefore, he must go.
Yeah.
Who's going to win out?
Well, and if it's if Yam Yam gets his way, then who else has voted other than Heidi? Nobody else has voted his name, have they?
I don't believe so.
Just Heidi had made Lauren do it. But
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's something to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right, off to Tribal Council.
Night 17.
Jeff talks about the rice negotiation for the jury's benefit, I'm sure.
Heidi says no regrets. She's totally okay with her choice.
Yep. And Jeff talked about the 4 people being safe. And
Kane piped up
They're
right
like,
away and
"Yeah,
says,
right,
nope,
Jeff."
don't believe it. And Danny was quick to jump in and said,
Yeah.
I'm not a Boy Scout, so do with that
not a
what
scout,
you will.
Jeff. So
And he's going after him a little bit. He said,
I had
admit
my
it.
fingers crossed, didn't mean it.
Admit it. You were hungry. That's why you made your decision. Kane said, no, it's really came down to risk management. I didn't think I had any chance to win, so.
Yeah, it wasn't based on Danny saying he wouldn't vote. That's for sure. So I like that he admitted that.
Carolyn says the rice re-energized them, pumped them all back up.
Yeah, they were human again, she said. And then Jam Jam once again talked about, well, I always think it's me, so I was paranoid again after that. So.
Lauren are we still dealing with tribes, or is everybody playing individually? Question from Propes, and she said,
she throws a zinger at Heidi.
how so?
By saying, well, what I think about is who lied to me and looked directly at Heidi.
Oh, is that
Heidi
what that was about?
responded.
I didn't know that if that was actually directed at Heidi or not.
Oh, totally. She said,
Okay.
well, I think about who has lied to me.
I heard that part.
And she looked right at Heidi, and that's why Heidi responded like, yeah, me. And she said, well, you did lie to me.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Frannie said the atmosphere around the camp was electric, and there are lots of plans in the works.
And she said sometimes it boils down to what was the last plan you heard.
Yeah.
Because there's so many plans, you forget who wanted what. And so, yeah, sometimes it's
Heidi
just
says,
that.
yeah, you got to factor in the idols, the advantages, and nobody knows exactly what all is out there. And Jam Jam jumps in too and says, yes, which plan?
Yes, everybody has a plan. Who's it going to be again?
Propes asked Kane which way he would prefer to play. Would he play in a chaotic season or a more quiet season? And Kane says, well, for him, the only way to play is with the chaos.
Yeah, he's not there for a walk in Fiji. Oops.
Danny hits us with the now classic Survivor Tribal Council metaphor about driving or being driven.
Yep, and sometimes you have to not drive. Though I think he was trying to drive. He was persuading Frannie away from her thinking.
Propes notice Carolyn reacting, making faces, and ask her, and Carolyn tells him, well, now she's feeling worse. She can't tell what's going on, if the plan's still the plan or what. And so, boom, we're into a live tribal. Kane starts whispering to Frannie, and then Kane
Carson
comes over to talk to Carolyn, and everybody's
Jam
getting up
Jam.
and moving around, and Jam Jam's just happy to participate in a live tribal. That was part of his bucket list.
Yep, well, he got to do that. He got to walk over and have Carson whisper to him and Carolyn. And
Is there anything else before they went up to vote?
well, we heard him say, it's Danny.
Multiple times, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which was interesting. Time to vote. Who gets one vote? Danny.
We do see Jaime playing the extra vote, so just like they had discussed earlier, she's actually filling out 2 when she goes up to do her voting.
Yep.
And I was surprised that Heidi held. I thought she was going to play. And then it looked like Jaime was going to ask for the fake idol back from Kane so she could play it for herself, or so he could play it for her. Because he's holding her fake idol, right?
Yeah, in his sock. And he was eyeing her like, well, what, like he was waiting for some directive from her, but nothing came.
Because they talked about it for a brief second, I think, at the live tribal,
Yep.
trying to figure out play it or not.
So we have we end up with 1 for Danny, which was Kane's vote, 1 for Jaime, which was Frannie's vote.
That was
There
their
were-
just in case vote. Huh?
Yes, they're just in case something happens,
And Kane played an idol.
which wouldn't have done any good against Heidi because she had 3 votes with Lauren's 2 and Jamie's. And the rest of them, Carson, Carolyn, Jam Jam, Danny, and Heidi, all voted for Kane. And Kane
Boom.
is out.
Another blindside.
He said, I got outplayed.
Yes. I think
Yes,
he
you
mentioned
did.
something about them enjoying some rice with an expletive attached on his way out. Yeah.
Okay, we think it was Jaime that said era
Well, let's
of a
hold
li-
on before we
Oh,
do
okay.
next time on Survivor, which you didn't mention. That's where you were, I think.
Well,
what about
they
the
said
episode
this
as a
before they said next time on Survivor.
What about the episode as a whole? What
I
about
loved it.
the 2 days and the
I
day
didn't-
off where we got to see him resting and joking
That was
around playing
nice.
games?
That was nice to have a day off and where they could be a little bit more relaxed. But I would have liked it either way. I loved the ones that were all in one day too.
Yeah. Yep.
So they give us a lot of content, and I've really been enjoying the episodes. This was no exception.
There was the hunt for the reintroduced immunity idol, but
Yep.
it wasn't a big focus. It didn't chew up a lot of the time. It seemed like that part was very balanced. We got it. Heidi got it. Okay, we're good. Moving on.
And all of that searching, and no one's found the fake idol that Brandon left.
Yeah, his fake birdcage idol. I thought, I bet you Danny's going to find it with his strategy, and because they made you think Danny was likely to find it as much as they were showing him searching compared to the others.
Yeah.
But no, nothing yet.
Well, if I were Kane, I would have gone back and hid it somewhere that was a little easier to find.
Well, that ain't going to happen now because I think he
Kane.
left with Jamie's fake idol.
Well, sure he did. It was still in his heart.
Jamie played, I guess it was Jamie's to play, but she played the extra vote that Lauren had.
For Lauren, yes.
So those things
They're
are
gone.
out.
Yep.
How do you feel about that with Jamie? We've been talking about the payoff with the fake idol.
A little bit disappointed that it's not going to pay off as well as we hoped by seeing Jamie so shocked to find out that it was. I mean, she's going to be remorseful now because she lost her idol, and she's going to go on and on and on. And so she's probably not going to find out that it was fake until she gets voted out.
Till the game's
or
over
wins
for her.
and goes back and somebody tells her.
Right.
And hopefully she found out before the season started airing, and she found out that way. But
so to me, they played it up, and it did not deliver even remotely. So
No.
that's not a payoff at all. That was just a complete whiff
Yep.
as far as I was concerned. So I don't understand why they invested that.
all that time in it.
With her, with that, all her gleefulness, they reinforced it
Well,
again.
that was just her time and
This
getting
episode.
to see all of her reaction to all of this.
Now, from her perspective, this is probably the best thing that could happen to the fake idol after she had built it up so much and how great she was playing for having it and holding on to it and all that. This way, it lets her off the hook easy.
Yeah.
So she doesn't make a blunder in front of everyone in the context of the game. She doesn't make some major blunder from the tribe's perspective. And she's still thinking that she did have it. So were she to make it to the end, like you were saying, this is going to be part of her story. Probably she'll find some way to work it in because she was so proud of it.
Yeah, but you're right. I do feel disappointed that we didn't get the type of payoff that we were expecting to get, and now it's gone.
There was the build-up and then nothing.
Yeah.
That's essentially where
Kinda
we're
went
at. Yeah, he walked out with it. So, okay. It's the knowledge is power one.
Yes, it did.
It wasn't
and
even
it wasn't
active.
even active. So, yeah. Okay.
Oh, in spite of that, I too enjoyed it. So it was good. I continue to enjoy the tribe time. I like seeing that. I like to see how they react to Carolyn, how she's managing herself a little better. That was good. So they're not thinking that she's all erratic and impossible to work with. They don't think she actually knows what's going on, according to her assessment of her from their perspective. And that works to her advantage.
Well, now Frannie actually does have the opportunity to turn on her alliance if she chooses and bring in Jaime and Lauren and maybe Carolyn.
Well, why not Heidi? Because the women outnumber the men 5-3 now.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know if Heidi would be. Heidi's number one has always been Danny. So,
Oh, now, see, that's the perfect lead in to next time on Survivor.
jeez.
We hear Jamie
You're a
saying
nut.
it's a new game now. It's all about individuals playing, right? That's
The
what she
era of alliances is over.
According to
is
her.
Exactly what she
said.
said.
Now that her alliance has been hit twice, she's ready to give up on alliances. That's no fun. That's not fair. And then Heidi says,
Danny and I are close, but I'm here to play the game.
So, yeah, maybe she's open
maybe.
to turning on him there. It's got to happen sometime. You got to get them before they get you.
Well, maybe not. You never know how their loyalties
Somebody
will really
is
play
not
out.
listening to Carolyn. We see her say in a confessional, something's not right. They are stupid.
Well, yeah, those two things were done at different times, though. They ran it all together, but
Yeah.
she was with Carson, and they showed her with Carson and Yam Yam when she said something is not right. And then she was somewhere else in a confessional when she said, they're stupid. She could have been talking about anybody.
We see Lauren saying to Danny, I'm down, and Danny tells us, we have an opportunity to strike, so let's strike. What do you think he's talking about? Because he had been going after her previously.
Well, but now she's not a threat. She's
Yeah.
not as well. She did
Her-
win a challenge.
Well,
but
her advantage is gone.
her extra vote is gone, so Danny's no longer threatened
And
by that.
there's only
And-
2 Ratu left in the game.
That's right. They need somewhere to go.
Yeah.
And now I think Danny would agree with
Frannie?
Frannie that now we need to strike
Let's
Tika
go
before
get
they
Tika.
strike us.
Yes.
Let's use the Ratu people and let's strike Tika.
We see Carolyn talking to Carson, and she says, this is what we're doing. And then we see a Carson confessional where he's saying, okay, I got to decide who to betray.
Who I'm betraying?
Yeah,
I
'cause
don't know.
This playing the middle thing, you get caught eventually where you're choosing some sides and you're going to get called out for it.
Yep. So it's anybody's guess who's going next week, but I can't help but think the main winners for the challenges right now are Frannie and Danny.
You mean Frannie and Lauren?
No, I think Danny. They're still afraid of Danny, even if he didn't win it. They're still afraid he could, and that they would. Most of them think Danny can outlast them. Now, Frannie and Lauren have disproved that.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean they will in all challenges. I still think they would feel threatened that he could beat them.
Now could be the time, and certainly that could have been what Heidi was referring to.
Yeah. I won't be surprised if they target Danny now.
If Frannie or Lauren beat him in the next challenge, yeah.
Yep.
Very well could be.
Wow. It could go
It's-
so many different ways now.
There's less, but it feels just as complicated, yes. And who's going to take the hit? Are we going to drop Tika or are we going to drop Ahsoka? Since they're the
Or-
ones that are left with 3.
Yeah. Or are they just going to pick off Ratu first and then go head to head? I mean, as far as challenge beasts, I haven't seen any challenge beasts on Tika.
Oh, definitely not.
So, Soku might go, hey, we can beat them. Or
Soka.
let's get one of another Ratu off, and then we'll use the remaining one to pick off Tika. Or maybe they'll start now. I would start now if I were them.
Yes.
Because there's only 2 of them, and you got another tribe that's got 3. Okay, we got to pick one of them off.
So now Jaime and Lauren are really valuable potential in control of the swing. Things are going to flip on Tika.
But then, if you do that, if Soka does that and they pick off a Tika using the Ratu, well, there's no reason that the 2 from Ratu and the 2 from Tika will then join
Swing it
up
back
again
around.
and swing it back and take out a Soka because they have the numbers then.
Yes.
So I think we're going to see a lot of swinging this way and that way.
Yeah, a lot to consider, obviously, and hopefully we get in the upcoming episodes, we get more of this good tribe time. I'm enjoying that, where you get to see how things are playing out, how they're planning, and then how things end up playing out
Well,
when it gets down to the vote.
and now all of a sudden, Jaime and Lauren are no threat.
Certainly diminished. Lauren still is, but Jaime really has never been.
No, that's true.
Of course, they don't. Let's see. Lauren knows, I guess, that her fake idol has left, that she doesn't have it. But it could still offer her a little bit of. It could offer her a little bit of cover, or it could continue to make her a target. Jaime.
Oh yeah, Jaime, because they don't. That's right.
So they'd probably
I
come
forgot
after
that.
her.
They don't know.
They'll know that Lauren's vote is gone because of the amount of votes that got read, because that extra vote was clearly included in the total.
They might tell it just to take the target off of her.
Yeah, that would probably be in her best interest,
oh, no,
actually.
I gave it to Kane, and then
And Lauren
now
will
I
vouch
lost
for
my
me.
idol.
Yeah, because it drops her threat level.
And
It gives her
as-
more to hide.
As far as we know, no one knows that Heidi found the idol.
Correct.
They haven't shown us that. And as far as we know as well, nobody's ever been told that Carolyn has one. So
Correct.
that we know of. Though I find it hard that she wouldn't, but she didn't while they were at Tika. So it's better for her to keep that to herself. So
Yeah, she does seem to be she seems to be really at home with this idea of being underestimated and the cover that it provides her. So
I like it, and I
And-
think it does.
she picked up on that early on, I think, because that's part of that alienation vibe that she was giving off causes that to happen. You think of them as less able to follow through with the plan.
Yep,
How about a JSFL update?
I can do that. All right, Hatter is still in first place with 43 points. There were 7 people who lost their USB. 118 people lost a safe point for Kane. Congratulations to the 27 people who earned a vote-off point.
Good job.
The
Good
side
job, Joanne.
Thank you. Side challengers with tied in first place with 40 points is Chris and Jeremiah with 39, Rebecca, 38, Justin, 36, Colt, Mike, Parker, Randy, and Robert, 35, Drew, 33, Stacy, 32, Lisa Ray.
All right. Well, there you have it. An interesting week in JSFL 2. We would love to have you join us for our listener feedback show on Saturday. We've been having a blast doing that. Great turnout, great analysis, different takes on it, coming at it from different angles. Some people like this, some people like that. Get to see it from lots of different perspectives. We'd love to have you be a part of that. The voicemail number is 206-350-1547, toll free 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio. That's usually how you get the best quality, and send it to us via email, or you could just send an email and either Joanne or I will read it into the show on your behalf. That email address is joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. You can always find all this at getsfp.com. That's getsfp.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays. We ask that you keep it in the 3-minute range, whether you write it or record it yourself or call it in on the voicemail so we can get everybody in.
All right, sounds great. I look forward to it.
Anything else?
Not for me. I think we've talked about all of it.
Okay, have a good one.